Welcome all. This is Narayan and Prashant. The topic today we are going to discuss is constructors. In object-oriented programming, every class contains some number of member functions. Constructor is also belong to that group. It is a special member function which is called at the time of creation of object. The function is this constructor is called a special member function. This is because whenever you create an object in the main function, it automatically executes the constructor and initialize the values. So whenever you create an object, the constructor will be automatically called and the values are initialized automatically. So there is no need for explicit call to the constructors. So these constructors normally has the same name as the other class name. So every member function has a name, but this constructor is, as I told, it is a special member function. This constructor will have the name which is similar to the class name. So constructor should be declared as a public access specifier. There should not be any return type for the constructors whenever you declare. Okay. So see, here is the syntax for the constructor. Constructor, that is the constructor name with parameters. So a constructor can have parameters, open brace. So the default values, statements, whatever you want, you can post it here and closing the syntax. So the syntax for constructor is normally very similar to the member functions. But the thing is, it should not be use any access specifier. It should not use any return types. There are different forms of constructors are there. So first one is constructor without parameters. So in the syntax itself, I told that a constructor can have parameters, or you can also declare constructor without parameters. So if a constructor has no arguments, then it is called constructor without arguments. Just see this example. So header files, you have class, my class. So this is the name of the class. A and B are data members. So inside the public access specifier, you have the constructor. So as said, the name of the constructor is also same as the name of the class. So here the name of the class is my class. Very similar to that, the name of the constructor is my class. But it was declared inside the public section, very similar to member functions. And this is the destructor which we will discuss in the later part of the class. Void show is a member function. So here let's see in the main part. Okay, this is where we are creating the object. So the name of the object is OB. The class which you are using to create this object is my class. Okay, object OB of type my class. So whenever this object is created, the constructor which is available inside this my class will be initiated, will be activated automatically. So when that object is created, so this is where the my class constructor is implemented. This constructor will be called automatically, and inside the class we are printing in constructor and assigning the values 10 and 20 to A and B respectively. So this is how the constructor will work. So here we are discussing about constructor without arguments. So see, this is the constructor and no arguments is declared here. In the next type, we will discuss about the constructor with parameters, or you can call it as parametered constructor. So whenever a constructor have parameters, then it should be called as parameterized constructors. Just see the syntax, class name, the object with some arguments. This is shown here. This is the syntax for creating an object. So when creating an object, you are supposed to use the argument list so that the value will be passed to the invoked constructor. Just see this example. This program is very similar to the earlier program, but with parameters. So this has the my class. This is a constructor which has two parameters. One is x and another one is y. So constructor with parameters is called as parameters constructor. But apart from that, the remaining concept are same. So you are supposed to create the object in the main function. Object is created using my class, and whenever you create an object, automatically the constructor will be called. But here you are having parameterized constructor, then therefore you have to pass the parameters. So the parameter values are 10 comma 20. This value will be passed to this particular constructor, and it will receive it through x and y, and x and y will be allotted to a comma b data members. The next type of constructor is multiple constructor or constructor overloading. So if more than one constructor is available in a C++ program, then you have to call this as multiple constructor. The term constructor overloading is mentioned here because all the constructors which is available inside the class has the same name. Let's take an example. So here you have a class con. So inside the class you have one, two, three, and four constructors. So this is one constructor, another constructor, that is constructor with the parameters, constructor with the parameters, and you have three more constructors with parameters. So if there is multiple constructors, if there is more than one constructor, then it is multiple constructor. And also all the constructor has the same name as that of class name, therefore you are calling it as constructor overloading. So in that program, okay, you have four constructors, all the constructor has the same name. So normally we will get some sort of confusion how these constructors will be called. This nearly follows the overloading concept. So in the main, again, whenever you create an object, the respective constructor will be called. So there, every constructor has different number of parameters or without parameters. So when you create an object, with respect to the signature of the object, the respective constructor will be called. For example, take this line const c. So here no parameter is used. No parameter is used. So in that case, the constructor without a parameter, a constructor without parameter will be called, and this is its implementation, and it will be invoked. In the another case, this is another constructor. Okay, this is another object creation process. That is, name of the object is yes, which is created using the class con. So in this case, we are passing a single value of 3. That is, a constructor will be invoked, okay, who has single parameter. Just check it. This is the constructor which has single parameter, and therefore this constructor will be called. That means this implementation will be executed here automatically. So likewise, based on the signature of the created object, the respective constructor will be called. Okay, the next type is constructor with default arguments. So in the earlier case, we discussed about the parameterized constructors. So whenever you create an object, you are supposed to pass the parameter values to invoke the parameters constructor. But suppose if you fail to pass uh, the parameter values, okay, then we will find some sort of difficulties. Okay, so in this case, we can go for constructor with default arguments. So if you are going using this default arguments, whenever you fail to pass the parameter values, whenever you fail to pass the parameter values while creating the object, the default arguments, the default values will be used by the respective constructor. That is, if you give initial values to the member variables inside the argument list of constructor, then it is called constructor with default arguments. This is the syntax for default arguments. Let's see in small example. So here the name of the constructor is my class. My class has two arguments. So here this is the constructor implementation. My class, I am supposed to give the default values. So two arguments x and y, and the default values 30, 40. So here, while creating the object, if I am going to provide the values for both x and y, okay, of my constructor, so no problem, these values will be taken out. But if I fail to do so, then the default values will be utilized. So here I class object ob1. Ob1 is the object which is created using my class, okay, and this is how the constructor with default arguments will work.